All right, we are back coming to you live from the hotel as we get ready for the final UFC of the year. Welcoming back to the show, we had him at the press box back in the day. Cub Swanson, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Talk about being in Tampa. You've been here before. Do you get a chance to go out? I always talk to you guys about, it's work and work's the most important. But do you get to enjoy Tampa at all while you're here?
Honestly, I haven't. I usually don't do much fight week. I'm pretty relaxed and just trying to save my energy. So I don't do much. And I think both times I've come before, I just kind of out right away. And I think the last fight, I had a day extra, but I had some issue with my eye and my vision was messed up. So I spent the entire day in the hospital. So
that ain't good.
Ruined that for me. Yeah.
Are you staying after on Saturday? Are you going to be in town for a while? Or?
No. So usually I stay an extra day and I didn't because me and my wife are both working. My wife works the event too. And so we only have the babysitter till Sunday night. So I got to be home.
What's it like, and does it matter that you're fighting a hometown guy, very well known in the Tampa area?
I mean, it's unfortunate for him. You got to carry the stress of that. People think it's get to fight in my hometown. It's like, man, that's a lot of pressure. And if things go good for him, it's big, but. I'm 2-0 here. I'm very comfortable fighting in this arena, so I'm excited for it.
People really don't realize what you just said because I feel the pressure. Chris Costello and the PR people, they're like, all right, we're in your hometown. We need this, we need that, media, this, that, the other. So I can't imagine fight-wise, but I know the pressure I'm under that everything goes the next couple days.
Yeah, I mean, when I fought in LA, I was so excited, and I think I sold like $22,000 in tickets just for my immediate friends and family, and then everything that was going on, and it can be a lot. It can be overwhelming, and so yeah, I don't have that pressure. I just flew over here. At a place I've done well in before, so I feel comfortable.
Veteran answer though. You said you sold because a lot of times your friends and family call and want them for free. So a good move.
Yeah, I mean, Cub, what's changed over the years? I mean, because you're saying you're going right back because both of you have to work and the babysitter and the kids. Like, it feels almost like the original UFC where it was you had a career and then fighting was your hobby or your passion, but it wasn't your lifestyle or income.
Well, yeah, when I was younger, this was everything, and I mapped everything around fighting, and fighting was number one, And at this point in my career, when I got married and had kids, I decided that if I continue to do this, it's no longer my first priority. It's comes after me being a dad and all that. So, I was still walking my kids to school on Monday, the day before I left for here, and I'll do that Monday next week. So I get a little short window of time to live my dream, and then it's back to being a dad.
So is that what the shirt represents? Like I see like a kid on the shoulders. Like what, what's the significance of the jersey or the shirt?
Yeah, this is a picture of me and my daughter that my wife got me for Christmas, I think last year. And I wanted to wear it just because I wanted a piece of my family with me.
Wow.
How old are your children?
I have a 7-year-old daughter and 2 6-year-old boys. I have twins. So I had 3 kids that are 1 year apart. It's pretty 1 year and like 10 days. Yeah. So I have like Irish triplets.
Right. Well, the reason that I asked that is I'm sure you remember I always give thank you gifts and stuff, but I was able to pick up a new sponsor, which I would have said later, but it's called Fantasy Pets, who make these really cool 3D. So I'm going to send 3 of them out to you so that each one of your children can have a pet of their own.
Okay.
So
I appreciate that.
How will you relax? I mean, do you just stay in the room? Do you watch TV? Do you play video games? Do you try not to think about the job that's coming on Saturday?
I do both. I want to think a lot about it because it's I try to treat it like, like you're studying for a test. I want to make sure that I hit all my marks and I have a great performance. That's what I owe to the fans and what I want to accomplish. And then when I don't need to do that stuff, I'm just relaxing, hanging out with my guys and just trying to ease the tension, trying to make it smooth. And I think when you're cutting weight, when you're stressed out, it makes it worse.
Sure.
And, stressing before something that's inevitable is a little ridiculous. So you just, that's the veteran part, is just trusting the process and doing things that you need to do and show up and fight on Saturday.
I've asked the other fighters that have been in so far about, warnings, stern warnings, harsh warnings, which I hate all of those. I don't think you should get a warning. I think if you do something, if it's a foul, you lose a point. And then you have a stern warning. What is a stern warning? Like your dad calls you into the kitchen and spanks you, and that's worse than don't do it? I mean, I have a problem with that. As a veteran fighter, do you have thoughts on all those things?
That is a good point, but it is difficult because, like a cage grab in one instance isn't the same as one in another, depending on what's happening. Mm-hmm. So I think giving the referee the verbiage to be able to not take a point right away, depending on the situation, I think is tough, because there's a lot of gray areas. It's not a very black and white thing. Sure. I'd harp on more like if somebody missed weight, they should come into the fight with a point deducted.
Absolutely. Per pound.
So, yeah.
Per pound. I think per pound.
Per pound.
I do think that.
Wow.
Because
I think a point is enough. What I would say is I think it should be the percentage of your purse should be 5% for every half pound.
There you go.
And because if you're 4 pounds over, that's 40% of your purse.
Yeah.
And then at 4 pounds, they won't even allow the fight to happen. So like, I think if you almost are going to like 50% of your purse, it's like you miss by a lot, and the fight shouldn't happen. And 50% of your purse means a lot. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Billy Q's answer to was, it depends on whether I commit the foul or my opponent does.
Yeah.
It was good.
I could see him saying that.
So Cole, are the kids old enough to or do they realize you're a Hall of Famer? Like, does it come up? Are you the cool dad? How's your aura? Because I have daughters that are 10 and 12. Apparently I have zero aura. So how do the kids see your career?
They're really kind of like, they're too young to really understand. Like, they know what I do, but they haven't really grasped it. My daughter understands a little bit more. She's like, "Are you famous?" And I'm like, to some people I am, because just random people will stop and say hi, and it doesn't happen like a crazy amount. So it's just enough to where they pick up on it. But my boys, they're kind of oblivious. They do jiu-jitsu, and so they just think that we all do the same thing.
Yeah.
The best is when, and I know it's an awful word, when a boyfriend comes to the door. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about a boyfriend's coming to the door and Cub comes and answers the door?
Yeah, I thought about that for sure, having a daughter. But the thing is, I'm always going to be training fighters, and I'm always going to have guys around to
protect you.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'd be like, "You're not just messing with me, you're messing with a whole crew of people."
my daughter went to UCF, graduated at UCF, and could not get a date for 4 years because they knew, like, they'd go to a UFC watch party and she would know not only what was happening, but know the fighters in the octagon. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "We might not want to mess with her." And then she would show an armbar. She couldn't get a date. It was the greatest thing ever. I loved it. So I always recommend any father teach their daughter, their son as well, but their daughter that, because it'll keep people away.
Yeah.
Didn't you stage a barbecue or something where there were fighters in the driveway when they came to pick her up?
But yeah.
Well, you threw a barbecue, and who was there? Seeing all these guys, and they're like, "Oh, I'm here to pick up your daughter for a date." It's got all the killers in the driveway.
Go through all that. Yeah, there's a picture with her and Randy, and her with So it is.
That's awesome.
It is definitely. How did you look at your career now compared to when you first started? I mean, is the drive still there? I mean, is the love still there, or is it just something you do well, and you're going to continue doing it?
Yeah. I mean, the progression of myself has been pretty drastic, and I think that's why I have a big fan base is if people can appreciate me always being real and just being me, and seeing that I was like real rough around the edges in the beginning, and then I matured into an athlete, and now I'm more of a family man, and I've always just gone out there and tried my best. And I think people can appreciate that. But yeah, motivation changes over the years, and you got to keep evolving, and it's not easy to navigate that. But yeah, like I said, at this point in my career, I feel really confident in myself and who I am. And I just love to do it. It's always been my therapy, honestly.
You know what fans, and I was talking to some of the NFL media at Bucks camp last week. I think fans and media forget that, when we first talked to you, you were 20, you were 21 in front of a microphone, in front of cameras. It's not easy to do. Mm-hmm. And I was telling the PR people at the Bucks, I go, I'm still uncomfortable doing it. And I've been doing it for 45 years. So when a young athlete comes in, male or female, to be thrown in front of cameras and expected to handle it perfectly, it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah. I mean, and the fact that we don't get trained on it, the UFC has always let us just be us. And, I've heard Olympians get rigorous training on it, and then how to speak and present yourself. And I didn't get taught any of that. It's always just like, here you go. And I definitely wasn't very good in the beginning. And then I just kind of learned. And I think that's what's also been great for me with the sport is I've had to learn so many different things. And when I talk to kids at schools, sometimes I go talk to kids at schools and tell them what it involves being a fighter. I always ask them, like, what do you think I do? And they just think I just fight all day. I just train. It's like, yeah, that's part of it. But you have to learn so many different aspects of life to be successful at it. You got to learn about taxes. You got to learn about contracts. You got to learn about how to do public speaking, PR. You got social media. You have so many things you got to be good at. And if you don't want to learn about it, you got to pay somebody to do it for you. So you have to make a choice.
And then when you pay somebody to do it, that cuts into the money that you're making. And
exactly.
See, people don't realize that either. You're like an independent contractor, and you have to take care of all of this that cuts into what you're making. And so you have to stay on top of it.
No, I think, as a longevity play, you're obviously like fight camp used to be you'd fight every day going into a competition. Mm-hmm. Have you changed your approach to now training smarter and not taking as much damage in camp so you can actually perform on Saturday night?
Yeah, of course. That's one of the major things I've changed, and I'm always trying to speak about it. So thanks for asking. But the way that I train with my fighters is we train completely different, and we're very unique. I'm very particular about who I let in our gym, and it's because we need trust. And if you are the type of guy that you're willing to step on everybody to get what you want, then I don't want you in my gym. I need you to care about me as much as I care about you. And with that, we will build something great. Nice. And so I'm building a team of guys that are always looking out for each other, trying to push each other, but not trying to hurt each other, not trying to say, no, it's me over you. Because I had almost had my career derailed by people like that, and people that are always trying to prove a point in training and want to be the alpha in the room. And it's like, dude, it doesn't need to be like that. You do that in the fight, and there's too many guys that don't make it to the fight because they're going too hard and Absolutely. They're just training really stupid. And then we also have all these coaches that their nerves are making they think that they need to push you as hard as possible to make it to the fight. But you have 5 or 6 coaches and they're not communicating. So now you have 6 coaches trying to push you. And then when you're telling them, I feel like this, they're like, don't feel, this old school mentality of like, no, I'm trying to explain to you where I'm at physically, where I'm at mentally, so we can work together so that I'm at peak performance. And it's just, the stupidity has to go, the old school. Like I keep explaining it. When you do peewee football, you do hitting drills because you need to see if the kids are tough, right? Yeah. In high school, they do a little bit of hitting drills, right? They know most of the guys are tough. In college, you think they're doing hitting drills? No, those are athletes, right. And those guys they know that they should be there. In the NFL, do you think they do hitting drills? No. Those are $1 million athletes. Yeah. You must be crazy. So why are you in the gym beating the crap out of each other every day?
Respect from an OG. Yeah, that's that's
I'm trying to change the culture of the sport and trying to help the longevity of fighters.
Final question, did you ever foresee, because somebody just asked me this earlier, that MMA, the UFC, blew up like it, we were back in the day. I mean, I've covered UFC since 1. Mm-hmm. So to see what it came from to where it is and where it's going to continue to go, but could you ever foreseen this?
I knew it was, but I didn't I couldn't visualize it. It wasn't a reality. When I started, the sport was 2003. It had been around, but it wasn't that big. And when I saw that the Ultimate Fighter was going to happen the very first time on TV, I was like, there's no way that people won't appreciate this sport, more after this, because it's the realest sport there is. There's no team, no ball. It's one-on-one. It's about as real as it gets, and that, no pun intended. But
and what made it cool was that anyone could do it. You could be a math teacher in Cincinnati, like Rich Franklin, and you were a UPS driver, and you had real careers, and then you were a star on Saturday night. So it made it obtainable. So I think that's where it really, you're right, the Ultimate Fighter changed what it meant to the family household.
Well, yeah, it just showed that we weren't a bunch of, thugs and street fighters. It was like there's martial artists and there's different aspects of it, right? But now it's like real athletes doing the sport and family people. And, it's, you have your gritty guys, you have your athletes, you have your martial artists. There's people from all walks of life, and it's a beautiful thing.
It's the sport that we all love. Cub, as always, thank you for your time. We're going to get your address, send you another care package of all the gifts that we like to do, as well as the fantasy pets, 3 of them going to your children.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy the week. I always call Fight Saturday as Christmas. So enjoy Christmas on Saturday, and then next week when it hits for real.
Thank you, guys.
Let's go hit a quick break. Coming to you live from the hotel here, UFC in town in Tampa, Saturday night. We'll be right back.